you do? I hope you're doing fine, cause it's Q&A time again. Hello everybody and welcome to another Friday Night Live Q&A. Excited to be here with you guys. Running a little late, actually probably like a minute late. Had to chase a frog down real quick. He's trying to get into my fish room. It's a battle with them frogs sometimes that try to get in here, especially when it's raining, but I am super excited. If you haven't realized, there's been so much more content coming out for you guys, so check out the channel this week. I think I did a video pretty much every day, and just to catch you guys up, like, you guys are going to get a lot of content because I've got a lot of catching up for you guys to do here. But the real purpose of this Q&A is to help you guys out with your questions and create a support system for all of you who are keeping aquariums, breeding fish, just keeping planet aquariums, aquascaping, whatever you want to do with aquariums. You can ask those questions here. We've been through them all. Granted, I keep my fish tanks in different styles. I've been through all the styles. And if there's something I don't know, there's also people in here that will know, because there's so many awesome and talented people just within the chat. And thank you everybody for being here. Glad to see all these names. I'm seeing all you guys. Kai Aquatics, Brandy, thank you so much for the support. I really appreciate that. A diamond member, that's huge. Really appreciate that. Speaking of which, you guys, the members, I'm really excited for the video that I've got for you guys this Saturday. So what I'm doing now is I'm catching everybody else up with the members videos, but with the members, and since we're doing so much content now, it's hard for me to just like keep that same track. But what I'm going to do with you members, we're doing a weekly walkthrough, and it's like 24-minute video, but you guys are going to see a lot of sneak peek things. I think you guys are really going to love it. Let me just say that. I think you guys are going to absolutely love the new member videos, and just the like in real time, up to date, and trying to get you guys, everybody, kind of more up to date of what's going on here. And Carol Cox, gold member proud. Carol, you have been absolutely amazing for so long. 34 months, that's awesome. And you've been supporting and watching the channel before memberships was even a thing. I remember a lot of you guys from when memberships wasn't even a thing. All right, and I am looking for them questions. Greg's, he was on it like at the get-go. For the, what am I drinking tonight? I am on the agua. I'm still drinking the water. I haven't slipped back into pop or anything. I do drink orange juice every now and then, or some lemonade. But, it's good for me. Carol Cox, holy moly, thank you so much for the support for the $20 super chat. I really appreciate that. Celebrating so close to 3 years. Yeah, that's wild. It's crazy how time flies, Carol. But thank you so much for that awesome support, and that is just awesome of you. Carol, you're the best. And another thing, oh, what was it? Oh, your guys' support. Speaking of which, I just got done from running around Florida picking up tanks. Picked up 22 gallons from Petco. And I am looking for questions here. I see a lot of people just chatting, hello, all this. But I did pick up 22 tanks. I hit up the villages in Ocala. Was able to get the neighbor a tank as well, because I got him hooked on it. He started up a rack, which is awesome. So from, thank you so much. Plus 10% discount for you guys that don't know. You can get it on the website. Running a 10% discount. More tanks is the code. And it's one word. And with that drive, we're trying to get this big fry rack section going, which is going to really be pretty sweet and get things all organized. Finally, which will just be huge for everybody on so many levels. Chris Trapp says, did you buy out the Florida Petco yet? I did not all of them. I haven't yet. There's a couple more directions I can head. we'll see how it goes though. I'm still a little tight on money, but even if I only get halfway to where it would be, that would be, I mean, any of it's all good, but you know, I did put out a lot of new fish and shrimp that I haven't had on the website ever before. So if you guys haven't been to the website for a while, and plus there's all kinds of my awesome lines of shrimp that I've been working for 10 years plus. They're on there if you want to help support. But anyways, Daniel McNamara says, "Hey Lucas, what size tanks did you get today?" 20 longs. Those are what I'm after right now. Because the big reason why I'm going for the 20 longs is because they're the only other tank that you can stack 4 high that doesn't get too high, at least for me. 10 gallons you could do 4 high, but I would rather have twice the amount. Which is funny because the last fish house that I had, I absolutely hated my 20, like my 20 by 20 rack was my least favorite in that house until I moved it into the center. Then I loved it. It was really sweet. But now I've got them on the walls in here, and just now that I've got it spaced right and the way that I'm doing them, like most of the fish draw to the front for me, but hides in the back. So I love the 20 longs as kind of my go-to right now for size and everything. 20 highs you could go 3 high with. Let's see. Scrolling. Do you know how to treat fish fatty lip? Ron R. So if you're talking about rainbows or something, I don't know what kind of fish you've got with a fatty lip, but what will happen is these fish will spar and battle with each other, and they just wear and tear on their lips, and it's actually a pretty natural thing to do. So the best thing to do with that is either try to simmer aggression. Now it depends on the aggression too. So if it's like the same species to where it's normal sparring or normal behavior, that's a little different from if it's a one different species and a different species and they just don't get along. So you do want to watch your tank, watch your fish's behaviors, see what may be causing that whiteness, but more than likely that whiteness is a sign that he is the aggressor to potentially other fish, and or if you've got like say lava kind of rock substrate where it's abrasive, sometimes that can mess with fish's faces as well. But for the most part, as long as you've got nice biologically sound water, that fish will be doing all right normally. And rainbows, it's really, they do that to each other, just sparring all day long and messing around. But us rainbow fish keepers, we don't worry about it too much because that's what they do. Okay. Oh. Trying my best not to miss any questions here. What type of air pumps do you use? So I actually use the none. I don't use any air pumps. Oh, air pump free. That's why it's so nice. You can literally hear the crickets outside. Those summertime crickets. Love that sound. Alan Tooth 48, great to see you around, Alan. Hopefully see you at the next club meeting. Says, Lucas, have you ever bred rummy nose tetra? And if so, are they fairly easy to breed? So I have not, but they're on the bucket list. And in Indiana, my water was always too hard for them. Granted, I had that RO system where I can blend the water, make it softer. I just didn't have the time or tanks to dedicate towards it. But now that I'm getting this fish room more organized, I've actually got these tanks set out in the back there that I can actually play around with tetra breeding and trying to do more of that stuff. So they're definitely on the bucket list, and I think that they would be pretty easy to do and potentially could do them the same way as I do my CPD method. For those who have seen it, I get the mesh baskets that they have for floating plants for ponds, and then I put foam around the edges and zip tie those on to that floats on top of a big tank, and then the fish will scatter their eggs throughout the basket. And then the fry will grow out in the tank away from the adults, and you just end up with a big school of fish, which is really cool. I mean, the best way to get a big school of fish is to breed your own fish, especially if you're working on a budget. Because let's face it, not everybody's got a bunch of money to spend on aquariums, and that's why I try to teach people. There's so many levels at doing aquariums, whether you want to spend a ton of money or barely have any money or enough to just scrounge up your tanks. And Petco sells a good time to get those tanks. Matter of fact, my neighbors, when he went to go get his tanks, he felt like they were robbing them because they got them for so cheap. Especially after you get the Vital Care 20% off on top of the 50%. Elliot Beard says, is that a gym setup? I see it is. It is. I've been wanting, like, I used to go to the gym like on and off and on and off. I was so inconsistent. Plus, I don't know, you learn so much when you do go through training and whatnot. But now that I have my own and I have learned so much more at my age, it's pretty sweet. I won't lie. I'm loving it. I am loving it. And this part of it came, well, the rack did too. I had some of the free weights, but a lot of it actually came with the house. It was kind of part of the deal I made with the lady that had it, because she didn't really need them anyways. Kai Aquatic says, I made an order today. Are your blues still bright blue today? And lots of Lady LRB plants. So I did see that order. That was an awesome order. Thank you so much. And as far as the blues, they're not like that, like really bright blue. I don't know. I could show you. Let me show you. Because I mean, I really need to sell these too, especially with this Petco sale going on. So if you guys are just on the fence on, oh, do I want some shrimp? Now the difference between these blue dreams and any other blue dreams you'll get is consistency. Look how consistent these blue dreams are. So I mean, they're at the not too dark, not too bright. They're right where a blue dream needs to be. And look, even the babies, it goes on and on. Now that one, I would call that one. It's got a little black on the head, a little black on the tail. That guy would get called, but for the most part, look at that. It's all solid. All solid. So get them while they're hot. I got them fire reds down there. Daniel McNamara, thank you so much for the $10 super chat. It says new tank fund. P.S. Why does YouTube only let me do 99-cent denominations? I don't know. That's weird. I have no clue. Oh my God, look at this yellow. See, I need to get the algae out of here. There's actually a ton of them in there. Look how yellow that one is. But my main colonies, oh, there's a bunch of them. Look at them things. Look at those. But I got some other colonies that are way back over there. Oh, I wish your Wi-Fi was more consistent. Why, can you not see them? I hope you can see them, but anyway. There's the shrimp. They're hot to trot. Brandy, I hope those suffice for you. I'm going to get back into my space. That way the internet doesn't get all wacky on me. Any developments on the collaborations, Lucas? So collaborations. I mean, I could create all kinds of collaborations if I want to. I haven't really had some time. I was talking to Zach Crazy Tanks guy, and he wanted to do a collaboration a while back and told him I would. So I'll probably be doing that soon. And nothing like... There's a few people I've been talking to, but I don't want to say anything because, I don't know, it's just, we'll let the future decide. Stay tuned, hit the subscribe button, and trust me, there'll be collaborations. Either way, one way or another. There's going to be all kinds of stuff for me to share with you guys. Not just my fish room and all what goes on here. Once I get especially after that fry rack build and everything, that will set me to such an organization level that we'll be able to really focus on going out and doing like tours of this, that, and other. Because I live in like one of the ultimate spots to tour freshwater fish stuff and saltwater, or just aquatic stuff in general. Let's see. Kai Aquatic says, I bought first place neocaridina shrimp at NC and they had babies. I have them in a tiny tank. How do I from the tiny tank to a 10-gallon and not kill them? So, congrats on the babies, and sounds like some nice shrimp, especially if from that contest. If you guys have not seen the contest that was at the North Carolina Aquatic Expo, that was the International 2023 International American Shrimp Contest. So it was shrimp from all around the world held in America, contested on the best of, really the best of entered. So if you want to see that, I did make a video that's back on the channel. I think it's a couple videos back. It was this week I released it. Like I mentioned, I'm sending out like 3, 4, 5, 6, maybe even, who knows. There'll be some days I just don't get them done, but it's gonna be a bombardment of content. But anyways, how to move those tiny shrimp. I really don't like to move tiny shrimp at all. They're really hard to move. So honestly, I would just give them that 10-gallon until they grow up and not disturb them. The best thing to do with shrimp, if you want your shrimp to breed, is to sit them in like their forever home. I know that was probably a quarantine tank, and sometimes quarantine tanks become new tanks. And then that's how you get new quarantine tanks, and then those new quarantine tanks become new tanks, and see how that just kind of cycles in this into this whole MTS thing, that whole multi-tank syndrome. So that's really the best way to do with those shrimp, because the less disturbance they have, the more likely they're going to keep breeding. Plus, if that mama feels like her babies got stripped away from her after she had them, some fish and shrimp, believe it or not, will hold grudges on that against you, and they will take forever to feel comfortable to do it again. And you would be surprised how smart and intelligent some of these fish and shrimp are. I've been studying them for years and years. It is wild how intelligent they really are. Shady Grady says, do you have any yellows for sale right now? I didn't see them on your website. Questions. So they are on there. Those same ones that you saw, them like really hot ones. Like I could have probably definitely, if the only thing with the neocaridina category, and a big reason why I don't do these anymore, is because they get judged. It's not like yellow versus yellow, blue versus blue, red versus red. It's like red versus yellow versus blue. So even if you had the hottest blues, but then you had the hottest yellows and the hottest reds, who wins the categories? It's one thing that I wish that they would fix within those shrimp contests. And I keep mentioning it. But what are you going to do? Get on Therese more about it. Speaking of which, I actually got their shirt on. Shout out to Therese for the new shirt. It's pretty soft. But they should be on the website. I think there was like 30 or 40 of them available on the website. Scrolling McScrollerson. Hello, everybody. Seeing y'all in here. Lauren Smithson says, oh, wait. Oh, I forgot. I'll get back to you, Lauren. Just 1 second. Come on, finger work. Carla M., thank you for the $10 super chat. Did not want to leave that out. I saw Carla's picture up there and had to give that shout out. Thank you so much for the support, Carla. Much love. And for like such a long time, she's the sweetest. Always asking people to hit the like button. Always supporting in the comments. Much love to you, Carla. Much love. A lot of you guys I see, you know. Although I may not shout all you guys out, like I see yous. I see yous all. I'm hanging out in the country too long. Lauren Smithson says, what size tank do you think is best for raising and selling a stable colony of Neocaridina? So 20 longs are good, 40 gallons if you got the space. And really, I don't know, any size bigger than that for just, I would say if it's just for personal, if you're not planning on wholesaling them and doing all kinds of stuff, because if you do breed out too many, you still got to feed them and or find them homes. So it is good to kind of balance your need and your expectations from it. But I like the 40 breeders for, especially like Caridinas. I think Caridinas need more space than Neocaridinas. They're just bigger and hungrier. Daniel McNamara says, everyone's thoughts on Pogostemon versus Pennywort, Brazilian Pennywort. Oh, well, they're kind of two different like levels of keeping, because the Pogostemon you can do more on the bottom and the Brazilian Pennywort does better on top, even though you can do both on either bottom or top. Brazilian's a lot easier to keep. Pogo goes banana. They both go bananas. I don't know if you guys seen like on the edge of my rack here, what I think is this rack. It's really hard to see. I wish I could pick you guys up and show it to you. Which I actually, the members video, you guys will be seeing it. I actually was pointing that out, how like a lot of people will use like pothos and stuff in their aquarium, and that Brazilian pennywort can crawl out and around like that pothos. Haven't seen Pogostemon jump tank to tank, or Pogo stellatus jump tank to tank yet, though. But if you do float like a stem of Pogostemon stellatus, it'll start shooting shoots off the sides of it everywhere, and you can really propagate the heck out of it that way. It does take time to grow, as anything. And as always, oh, Miss Calderson says, yeah, it gets super jumpy and all blurry when you leave your chair. Not a new development. Video cuts completely out when you go behind the 75s. Yeah. Yeah, I know. Actually, we did get a letter. I think Sarah found something about, it's not here yet, but they were talking about 1 gig speed and 2 gig speed, upload and download. Could you imagine this place with a gig or 2 upload speed? Oh my God, that would be amazing. Amazing. But I figure that's why I'm going to come out with more edited videos for you guys, since I can't do the walkarounds like I used to as well. And even in the old place, the walking arounds were getting hard to do because, let's face it, Wi-Fi and water does not mix so well. But thank you for letting me know. I appreciate that. I need that feedback from you guys because I rely on you guys to help me with that kind of stuff. Chad Manning, thank you so much for the $10 super chat. Appreciate you, Chad. Always great seeing you around here. And the continued support says, yo, LRB, I have a red hump Geo with a serious bloat. He's totally pine cone. Oh, man. Been treating with general Canoplex, slightly improvement, but not better. Any other ideas? Have you tried feeding them peas or anything? Peas can help with those sort of situations. When they start pine coning, it could be, it's usually, what is that called? I can't remember what the heck it's called when they start pine coning, but it's really hard to pull them through, and some will just pull through naturally, some won't. Just be careful that you're not medicating them too much, because if you fight his immunity to the point that he can't fight his infections or the things that he's dealing with. Yes, Dropsy, thank you. If he can't fight those things naturally and he's getting medicated and it's just tearing him up, that could cause more issues. So the best thing to do is make them comfortable. I would recommend some peas, like for some reason, and with Geos, they like to like munch down on that kind of stuff and eat that kind of stuff. I would soften them up. You're gonna want to boil them and soften them up before you put them in there. If anybody has any ideas too, as far as the bloating. Please, please help out, Chad. I hope your fish turns out all right. Yeah, be careful with their immunities and working too much on them. It's one thing I learned with a lot of those diseases is you can fight it and end up causing it a lot more problems. Now, if you see like visible worms and stuff, and like you know what you got to do, like you got to treat those worms. But that dropsy, that's a tough one. But I'll be looking out for answers if I do see an answer on that dropsy as well. But thank you again, Chad, for the support. Any tank manufacturers recommended? I mean, I've been hitting those Aquarium Petco sale deals. That's pretty much all I've been hitting up. Tanks, there's all kinds of good manufacturers out there. Custom aquariums, glass cages. I don't know, there's a ton of them. No specific. Marine land. I guess it depends on what you like too. Like some people like the blue seals, some people like the black seals. There's different glass to them too. But for me, the Petco cell's always been nice, super nice. Can't beat the deals. And that's going on now until the end of the month. So if you were wanting to get a tank, looking for tanks, you should go check that out. And they got, last time I went, I don't have space for them, but man, I was drooling over a bunch of 60 breeders. Like, I wish. They had like 4 of them stacked right in front of my face. I was good though. I was good. I didn't buy any. Johnny Best says, what TDS are the shrimps in your tank? So my TDS is around 170 for my for my Caradinas, and then it's like 230, 240 for the Neos. But those Neos will live in anything. Those Neos first were bred out in 500 plus TDS. And they've lived in like 150 TDS. They're really hard to kill. Like, I used to joke with people, you could smash them with a hammer and they'd still probably live. Those things are tough, bred tough. I've bred them over a decade now for specific genetics. And they're legit. Her 209 says, best method for leveling a tank and stand on an unlevel tank or unlevel floor. So, dealt with many garage floors and even this barn. A lot of it is dips, nooks, and all kinds of stuff. I use the composite shims. Well, I always try to build my squares. If you guys have seen any of my rack building videos, I try to build my squares on a flat platform. That way I know it's for the most part flat, but the bottom usually kind of levels itself out, and then as I go up, I level up the shelves as I go up from there, instead of like building the shelves up and then trying to level it out. So you kind of level it before and as you go. And Xanadu, thank you so much for the gifted memberships. That is awesome of you, Xanadu. Giving back to the community. I love this community. You guys are the absolute best. Like, I'm helping everybody. But yeah, composite shims on those leveling. And then Sunset Gin, did I see became a member? I think Lady LRB was telling me that. See, I actually can't see everything on here because they won't notify. Oh, there it is. Sunset Gin, yes. Thank you so much for becoming a gold member. Appreciate that. Big Dog 35 says, do you know anyone have like 2 or 3 flower horn in one tank? I don't know. I haven't personally met anybody who have kept more than 1 in a tank. I don't think I've ever seen that. Indoor fishing inside, Pygmea. They're actually in the barn. They're in a tote down here. I do got a couple babies out of them from the quarantine as well. Members will be seeing that, which you're a member, so you'll be seeing that here on the video tomorrow. JP Jeffries says, will leeches harm all fish, or just there's certain species that just eat them? What is the best dewormer to buy? The type for dogs seem really expensive. So the Pancure Seed Dog dewormer is what I used to use, and it was probably the cheapest. I don't know. They make that no planaria stuff, which is also a dewormer, but then that only treats certain types of worms, and that's more like planaria nematodes. And honestly, those don't do any harm to fish. And matter of fact, it's a really good snack for them. But you get into like calamus worms and stuff like that, then you need levamasol, which those things are more internal parasites. And even like leeches usually eat like the dead, dying ones or lazy ones. And it really depends on what you're calling a leech. And regular detritus worms, there's all kinds of beneficial worms. There's a lot more beneficial worms than there is negative worms. And usually you get those from like wild fish when you get those kind of issues. Which a lot of the fish like farmed in the wild if you're getting them from box stores and stuff. But then they get ran through so many meds. And that's why it's real important if you are getting new fish, careful on how you're quarantining them. Just don't slap them with a bunch of meds. Because their immunity by the time you even get to them is already beat up. Let them recover, watch them, and then if you see problems, then ask questions or dive into research to how to fix what I'm seeing. Especially now these days, you can type in pretty much anything like worm coming out of fish butt, and you will get an answer for that. And you can word that however you want, and there'll be a search for it. Let's see, her 209 says, do you have a video that shows the floating basket method for egg scatters? You know, I don't know if I do or not. I can't remember if I made one or not. I think there's over 750 videos on the channel right now. But I do want to make a new one. I need to make a new one on that. I think I shorted it recently. That's another thing too. I'm gonna get mixed between my shorts and my long forms. I want to let you guys see, because I know you guys don't always watch both. Like, I don't really get on YouTube shorts myself personally, just to like my own comments or content. But as far as that braiding basket method, the whole gist to it is it's a plastic mesh basket. I'll pick you guys up real quick. Get blurry, bear with me. We'll do what we can. I'll move real slow, like real slow, real slow, real slow. Flip. Okay, are you guys all right? We're all still here. That's good. So up here is that floating basket. I'll stay over here too. So that's that floating basket. You can see it's mesh. And then it's got a bunch of top coverage. And the top plants is to make the fish feel comfortable in that. And they feel really comfortable. That's almost the key, is having that top plant on there. And yeah, just keep a group in there. They scatter the eggs up underneath it, and then now there's like this whole huge school of CPDs in there. And I've had those CPD lines for a long time. And the thing about CPDs, they do actually like that tight space too, because they're found in little short, shallow rice fields and stuff. But I can move that out, clear the babies out, and put it in another tank, start again. Or I could just clear the babies out and leave that there. There's many, many ways to do it. And if you want to trigger your fish, if you can ever get a hold of Daphne or something, that's always a really good trigger for fish to breed, but it's not needed. Feeding your fish like twice a day, maybe in the morning, towards the morning, and then at night, that'll give you better success at breeding too. because they're not trying to eat each other or getting hangry, and they're all full belly and trying to make love. Even though sometimes never mind. Should let things digest. Let's see. Looking for them questions. Supreme Leader Army says, I attempted my first infusoria culture a month ago in a glass jar, but am unsure when to tell when it's ready. Do I need a microscope? So no, you don't need a microscope. Matter of fact, let me see if I can do this too. I've got infusoria that just grows into these tanks, and it looks like kind of like this cloudy, milky white stuff, which actually I know the perfect tank in this yellow shrimp tank. Dun, 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 dun. Oh, well, I know it's in here. I don't know if you guys can see it though. There's like little strands in the water column. Like the whole water column's kind of full of it. But if I get food that sits up on top of the water like this for too long, that infusoria will eat off of it like crazy. But you can see where it's kind of like cloudy white, which that stuff is amazing for fry. Shrimp tanks and fry work pretty good. The only problem is the shrimp, if you let the fish get too big, the shrimp won't like it, and then they can predate. It all depends. But I'm telling you, shrimp tanks and baby, like the tiniest fries, they're good. It's good. It's good. But I don't have I can't manage that with my shrimp. That's why it'll be better to have like the individual fry racks for that. Which I can't wait. It's gonna be super awesome. Like that's the biggest key points to this barn, and like really kind of topping it off. So I have fry rack. All right, sorry if I'm missing anybody's questions. Doing my best. They're really coming in today. And let's see, I'm getting more towards the bottom. It's harder to scroll back. Cameron Carter, do you sell turquoise rainbows? If so, how big? So I do not sell the turquoise rainbows. I should get some more of the lacustras, but there's so many others that that really need attention before I get to the lacustras, because the lacustras, the turquoise, are still kind of available commercially. And when it comes to rainbow fish, I would prefer to work with more or less commercially available rainbows. There is one I am working with, and that's the Millennium Orange Albino Rainbow. That's mostly because it's kind of been a tricky rainbow for me, because I think it has a lot to do with the light sensitivity of the babies. They've been more of a challenge to raise up for me than most other rainbows. So that's been kind of a personal thing. It's been personal. Let's see. Man, it keeps jumping. Xanadu says, would those baskets work for pseudomugils? Would you pull the eggs or just drop in the spawning mobs? So with the pseudomugils, they're more of a sticky egg. So if it's a sticky egg type of fish egg with rainbows, they're pretty much all sticky egg. And oh wait, excuse me, pseudomugils are not considered rainbows anymore. They're considered blue eyes. My bad. Hopefully Gary Lang doesn't hear me say that. Speaking of which, I got him some Glossolepis maculosus out this week, which is really cool. Hopefully get some upper tor, Chilometherinia, and Goldii decai again from him, as well as the pseudomugil Aru 2s. But the best thing with the pseudomugil is to have some bottom coverage of plants or mops. I prefer plants myself, and then musical fish them out, just like I do with all my other rainbow fish. But they like to leave their eggs. They're more kind of like a rice fish. They don't carry them behind them, but they scatter all over, up and down the tank. Oh, let's see. Let's see. Scrolling. Aquarium Cockpit says, how's your fitness? Are you using a lot of that equipment at the background? Need to get back on the grind. Yeah, it's actually good. I've had my body like pushed to failure quite some time. I've learned that it's more about recovery than it is so much the workout. And my workouts are so cake. It only takes like so long, but I do a lot of like weight volume. And I don't know, it cycles too, though. You kind of cycle throughout the weight volume and then you put in a little more reps. And then you got recomposition of the body that you've got to go through. I think that's the thing about exercise a lot of people get caught up on is they're looking at these results, these results, these results, and there's so many variables to them. And the reason why this is because the body cycles through different levels of your fitness training as you go. And being conscious and aware of that can actually take you a really long way. Then also just keeping that metabolism up, which eating frequently throughout the day, a little bit here and there with less carbs can really help burn fat and all kinds of stuff. But I could talk about all that, but this is a fish channel. I wish I had more time to talk about that stuff, but I don't know. Maybe one day I will do more videos about anything that's not shrimp or anything that's not aquariums. Let's see. But you, Anthony Kick says, what about harvesting green water cultures? So what I do is a lot of my algae breaks down, and as it breaks down, it'll create my green water, especially since I've got super high lights. My lights are way too intense for this fish room. They're like $20 shop lights, so it's what worked for like getting some lights on the tanks and getting things going. I would like to have better lights here in the future. We'll work on that. But highlight and then decaying material, and you'll need like a 12-hour, 10 to 12 hour at least, if not more. Usually helps with the green water. But most summer time frames are around 10 to 12 hours for most places on Earth. So that will help create that green water, is that breakdown of material in that water. And the softer the water, the easier it is to build that green water with, because that acidity helps breaks it down as well. Not saying that it's necessary, but it does help. Speaking of which, I made a short about feeding that to my smallest of fry that I have. Like even the tiniest babies, that green water is great to feed. I do need to make a short on how to make that, but I've got other things I need to make a short on, and this is why you guys are going to be getting more content. It's just because I don't really, because I can't, it's hard for me to just, I can't spam like 3 shorts a day. I can't just like do that. People would not be happy about that. I don't know. Maybe you guys would be. But I'm going to leave it at 1 a day. Kai Aquatics, but I do want to do a short about that for you guys. Maybe a video eventually. Kai Aquatics says, can CBD go in Neocyrdina tank? Not my award winners nor my shrimp. Jesus, blue dreams. But they can go with coals. So they can go with coals. I actually have shrimp in my CPD breeding tanks. So they are all coexisting in there. The only thing is you won't get much shrimp out of your tank from those. CPDs will predate on the small ones. All right. So I hope that helps you. Lady LRB, you still in here? Did I miss anything? Make sure. See, we're at the 45-minute mark. All right, scroll. Yeah, I was getting thirsty. You guys still talking about deer? Don't go all Bambi on that deer with me now. That doesn't help nothing. Sevsen says, do you still have the goldfish tank? Would love an update video. I do have the goldfish tank. Speaking of green water, oh my god, it's so green water right now. And the funny thing is, it's like the only tank that doesn't. Well, it's not the only tank that doesn't have a light, but it doesn't have a light, and it's next to a natural window. And those goldfish grow green water like crazy. You want some green water? Get you some goldfish. Let me say that much. But should be updating. I think you guys may be getting an update video of that soon. I can't remember the lineup. I've got like 8 videos or so already edited out and lined up for you guys. I'm just not sure what the setup, like the number of how it's going to roll out. Henry Figueroa says, what are the parameters of your nothobranchia? So they're actually in like 170 TDS right now. They got quite a bit of mineralization in it. Although my water is soft, it's still heavy with mineralization. But they do like more of the softer acidic water. Tough little fish. Let's see. Health is wealth. Exactly, Aquarium Cockpit. And thank you. Paul or Ball Pythons or Ball Pythons 9 says, is it safe to bag small fish shrimp the night before a 1 day show? Will they have enough oxygen to get through the next day? So I use the breather bag, so it doesn't matter. They could live in those things for like a month as long as they don't get too hot or too cold. But as far as like normal bags, depends on how many fish and what fish and how it gets its oxygen. But if it's just like the next day or two, you'll be good. Because I'll go to these shows and buy fish like on a Thursday, and they won't get home till Monday. And I leave them in the same bag. I'll leave them in the bag all weekend. And I've done it with so many fish, and it's not cruel, and it's actually better for them. The key to doing that, though, is to keep them dark. So put them to bed. Once you bag them up, put them to bed. Do not give them light. Do not let them see light. They will just sleep their way through time and space. And then that'll work out for you. It's kind of like when you're driving in the car and you get to take that nap while the other person's driving, and it's like, oh, we're here already. But that's the trick. Keep them dark. Ron R says, how many aquariums is enough? I don't know. I'm glad my neighbor's getting into it because he was talking about getting like 80 aquariums or something. And I'm like, I like this kid's attitude. He's really got the drive. And he was talking about they got like 3 or 4 rooms over there they can mess with. So, granted, for me, I don't know what the limit is for what is enough. It's not. Because the whole definition of enough and the interpretation of that is very variable as well. Because for what I do, there will never be enough aquariums for these fish because there is so many strains and so many fish, and I cannot stress this enough to you guys. You guys take for granted the fish that are in our hobby. And not to mention, I mean, not all you guys. I'm not saying all you guys take for granted, but it is something that we don't really think about because they are just offered to us and they are here. And there's so many other rarer fish too that do not have habitats anymore, that you can't go collect them or they can't get exported out. And people will never know that these fish exist, and there may not be any reason to conserve their land and all kinds of other reasons. And then even like designer strains of guppies and stuff. There's been so many cool fish and stuff that I've seen, and many of the old school breeders they'll agree with me that there's so many fish that have just been gone the wayside, just out of sight, out of mind. And so, to that aspect, there'll never be enough tanks for breeding fish, especially the ones that really need the attention. And if there's any species out of all the fish that I talk about that need bred out, it's killifish. Killifish, 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 killifish. Oh, we need so many more killifish breeders. I do know that they are starting to become more commercially available, more for like the amphibian types and stuff like that, which is great because it definitely helps keeps them around or raises more awareness to other types of killifish. But it's crazy. I fear for the future of killifish and the variety that will be available, and they have got to be one of the most amazing, most colorful types of freshwater species. I mean, even up there with rainbow fish and stuff when it comes to coloration and just pop. And there's so many misconceptions about killifish as well, to the point where a lot of people think that they are killers, which to each other, sometimes yes, in tight spaces. Given enough space, they're not so much killers. And they're not like aggressive, and it's more like breeding kind of stuff and are being hangry. They do get hangry. But keeping them in communities, you can keep them in community tanks as well. And they're really not as hard to breed as people think. And really, if you want information on it, there's a lot of places to find information on how to breed them, or just reach out to me. I can help guide you to what can help you breed killifish. But either way, they need a lot of attention. It'd be horrible to see them go to wayside. As a matter of fact, I kept saying I don't have time to breed killifish, and why I try to get so many other people to breed killifish, because I can't do it all. I cannot focus on all the fish that need bred and just kept in, and that's why I try to help and share to where others can help with their lives and do things that they love and enjoy and stuff as well. Because when I first started getting into this, or not really started getting into it, but when I was out of college, I graduated with a graphic design degree. So everything's design. Because if you know design, it's easy to break things apart and put them back together. And with the business design model back then, it was mostly the .com was starting to come to fruition a lot more and more and more. E-commerce was getting hot. eBay was getting hot. And the main thing was brick and mortar stores back then. And I was like, it would just be really hard to do brick and mortar. But then I started getting on the forums once I realized that you could put plants in aquariums. And then I saw people were just selling out of the forums. And I was like, well, this is cool. I could do this. And it's where I was buying most of my stuff off other hobbyists from the forums. And this was like 15 years ago. And by doing that, I learned about all these rabbit holes of all these rare things. And this was before shrimp started coming out. I remember when shrimp first started coming out, to where it was not grass or glass shrimp, but like actual colored shrimp, where it was just the bees, the red bees and the black bees, the caradinas, and then the red cherries. But just from looking at that and then seeing what eBay offered, and then started getting into Facebook, and now just e-commerce, there's such a huge market. And then swaps and clubs, there's so many places you can marketplace and create your own economy, really. I wouldn't mind doing a video on economies for you guys, because if you guys can understand what economies really are and how to create your own or work within others created, then that can open up a lot of doors for you. It's like when you hear on the news, oh, the economy's crashing, the economy's crashing. It's like, well, whose economy are you talking about? It's their economy, which is the government's economy. Like, the sky's falling, whatever. Anthony Ellis says, hey, just got some sea allanite rainbows. Absolutely beautiful fish when colored up. Do you have any? Sea allanite are some of my ultimate favorites and once hailed as the holy grail by the man himself, Gary Lang, who, if you guys don't know who Gary Lang is, he's one of the legends that have gone out and collected a lot of these rainbow fish. He's not the only guy, but he's collected a lot of them and have made them available to us, thankfully. Without guys like that, we wouldn't even have a freaking clue what was out there. So it's really amazing. A lot of people don't realize how young this aquarium hobby is, too, and the trade alone. It's about as young as the internet, really. Granted, people were trading fish here and there, but on like the scale it is now and where it's come, like, I've kind of seen the pioneering of a lot of this hobby and been through it. Let's see. Chia Pet, Ron R, as much as you can afford. Is that the answer to that, how many tanks is enough? Because that would be the proper answer to how many tanks is enough, is as much as you can afford. Chia Pet says, how much is your electric bill with all the filters and stuff? All the filters and stuff? Chia Pet, are you messing with me? I know you're messing with me. So I just paying for the lights here and the AC though, and this is not. So if I'm not really running the AC, I can get it down to like 150 in here. But if the AC is running, it's more like 230. Let's see. Oscars can get a little hangry as well. Yeah, they definitely can. A lot of fish can. They can get hangry. And I think that has a lot to do with it. Like, look at your fish. Connect with your fish. The more you can connect with your fish, the more you'll understand them and a lot about life and other things. Is having this awareness and connections to the things. Legion Aquatic says, do you need to remove the eggs out of the tank for all killifish species? No, no. Actually, the first fish I ever bred was the Golden Wonder killifish, which that's like a trophy type of fish because it was actually bred out from the lineatus, which does not look anything like what those Golden Wonders does, but it like mutated this like orange to like this flashy orange. And oh my god, if you've never seen a Golden Wonder killifish, I definitely recommend writing that down to Google it because your jaw will drop. And if you've seen these things in real life, oh my god, first time I saw them at the pet store, and some guy must have brought them in, and well, some guy did, he brought them into the store, and he had like this pair, huge like chunkers, man, biggest Golden Wonder killies I have ever seen in my life. Them things were huge, and there's a male and female, and they were being oh so lovey-dovey and social, oh, just to watch them play and mix and mash with each other. Oh, it was so cool to watch in a planted tank. And what ended up happening is they bred out in that tank without me even doing anything. And there was just enough plants in there that a few of the babies survived. And I was like, whoa, this is really cool. Like, that really got me into the killifish hardcore as well. And I don't just push killifish as far as like that's what needs to be bred because that's one of the first fish I bred or anything like that. That's like the God's honest truth. A lot of these people that are breeding these killifish are way older, and you know, time's not, let's just say that there's not a lot of young people breeding them, and there's still so many that need to be bred. But yeah, you do not need to always remove the eggs. There's only really a few fish that have to have that. Many of them can just do it with the water. It's just easier to remove them out with the spawning mops and put them on peat moss because what you do, and I've got videos, old videos on this. I'll make newer ones. But if you type in breeding blue gularis LRB, you'll see a couple videos where I show all of it, like the whole process of picking the eggs off of the mops, putting them on the peat moss. And when you're putting them on the peat moss, that peat moss actually works as an antifungal, antibacterial. So it helps target the ones that are fertile and infertile. The infertile ones will turn white. The with like a fuzzy white, you want to remove those. I usually get like a toothpick and then pick them out from there, and those will usually show up between the first week, and then after that you get all the infertile ones out. You don't have to worry about it. You just set them until like the incubation time that's recommended. Now say if you don't know the incubation time that's recommended, just look into it briefly once a week. Look for the eyes for them to be eyed up. And what it means for to be eyed up is you'll start seeing like the blacks, the eyes, like they look like they're about to pop. They're like really, it looks like their eyes are up, literally eyed up. And once you see that, then you add the water to them and then they'll just start hatching. It's really wild. But that's how a lot of people have figured out those times is by watching it like that. I can imagine that'd be the only way to really do it. Let's see. So many questions. Oh, we're over the hour mark still. Oh well, I'll stay for a little longer. It says Legion Aquatic says I wanted to try to breed clown killifish. Could I just leave the eggs? Yeah, clown killifish is one of the easier ones that you can just leave the eggs in, and they're better at musical fishing, so it's good to like do a group of those together. Say you get like 10 of them together, put them in a community tank, or not a community tank, but put them in a tank with a bunch of plants, a planted tank, and let them breed out for a while. Maybe let them marinate for 3 weeks, a month. Keep them cozy. Play that Barry Manilow or whatever gets them in the groove, or whatever you got on the playlist, and they'll start doing their thing, and then remove them and put them in another tank, and then you'll start getting and seeing babies that come out of that. A lot of my breeding is just keeping a group or a pair or a trio depending on the type of fish and how it breeds out, um, and then just moving them, and then you just, if it's a nice ecosystem, nice planted aquarium, they feel comfortable, it's really all you need. Some fish do require certain hardnesses for their eggs, but that's mostly like tetras and rasboras and like rams and stuff like that that need acidity for their eggs. Not all of them. A killifish, some killifish, they do prefer like more of a neutral, softer water for their eggs. The harder the water, the harder it is for the eggs to hatch and them to break out of them. That's the trick. They can live in that hard water. The fry can do all right in that harder water. It's just the eggs have a little harder time with this. So when you do hatch those eggs, I like to use RO water. Let the babies grow up out of that, and or rainwater, distilled water, or whatever. Let the babies pop up out of that, and then put the babies in a nice, dirty, no filtered tank. And then they'll just eat off of whatever all day, and it makes your life easy. I try to do this in the easiest ways possible. It's about the only way to do it when you're messing with so many aquariums. Wolftoe, what type of Juliachromis you got? I got the Juliachromis marleri, which members will be seeing something special on those next, or tomorrow. All right, sorry guys. Oh wait, one last one. Shady Grady, I have a male golden wonder and he is amazing. Any clue where I could find a mate for him? Question. I don't know off the bat. I've got a pair. That's all I've got. So I don't know. I wish I had another female for you, but I really don't know anybody else. I think you can find them at Petco actually every now and then. So they are ones that do go through commercially. Big reason why I don't focus on them. But I will focus on some blue galars because God forbid those ever go away. Xanadu, thank you so much for the $20 super chat. Thank you for all your support and the gifted memberships tonight, Xanadu. Very awesome of you. Says Lucas, such great info and inspiration as always. One of my fave streams every week and one of the best breeders, fish keepers in the U.S. Thanks for all you do and share. Well, thank you for that, Xanadu. I really appreciate that. We're working hard at this. And really, I could not be doing any of this. I know I say it all the time, but I could not be doing all this without you guys because you guys really do motivate me a lot to do what I do. And now I've been in it for so long, and it's just a part of me. It's just so awesome to do all this together as a community and just I feel like it'll be so good for the hobby coming up, especially with all this new content and kind of refreshing the aquarium hobby content for what's been going on. Granted, it won't have the most pizzazzy like effects for my videos and sound noises and whatever, all that additional stuff. But we're going to be doing some really cool aquarium things that can really give us some neat perspectives or even help with all kinds of aspects and variables about it. But anyways, I could ramble on about that stuff. So I'm gonna have to say goodnight because we're well over the hour mark. Sorry if I missed any of your guys' questions. I tried my best. But thank you all so much for the support. And I hopefully get some more tanks tomorrow as well because your guys' support has been so awesome. And if we can push it here until like the 1st of July, and I'm probably going to have to get in the nitty gritty of my stock to do this, but it grows back pretty fast. And it'll be worth it. It'll be totally worth it. Because the wood for the rack and the paint and stuff like that, that's a lot easier to work up than it is for all these tanks before July 1st ends. But anyways, okay, I'm hopping off here. Thank you all so much for joining. Peace, have a great one. Enjoy the week and enjoy your tanks. Enjoy life, your family. Enjoy your breath that we're given every day because, man, that's a gift alone in itself. Wake